Welcome to Pacific Mystery School. This is the Western mystery tradition, and we are deep inside of it with the Kabbalistic tarot. Kabbalistic is the Western mystery school, and the glyph that we're working with that represents the Western mystery school is the tree of life. So right now we are walking through some aspects of the tree of life, and today we're on the way of the priestess. We have been in the process of understanding the major arcana. Arcana means mystery. So this is the major arcana of the Kabbalistic Tarot of the Spirit. So Tarot of the Spirit is a Kabbalistic tarot deck. Not all tarot decks are Kabbalistic, but Kabbalistic means representing the Western mystery tradition, which is 1,000 or 2,000 years old, depending on what stories you are looking at. So here we go now into the priestess, and we're working on these three tiers, it's called, of the major arcana. So today we're on the high priestess, and you can see the priestess there at the top underneath karma, and beneath that is the resurrection card. So that's the row we're working on today. On the path of initiation in the ways of incarnation. The fool inspirits every one of these major arcana archetypes, bringing in soul, anima, the breath, the fiery breath of the universe. So now we inspirit the high priestess within ourselves. The high priestess is called the Star of the Sea. That's her esoteric title. She has a couple of other esoteric titles, but this is also attributed to Mary, which is very interesting. So, and here's Mary, same title. She is also called the Priestess of the Silver Star, and Mary is as well. Priestess of the Silver Star. The high priestess is called the Shekinah above. And we have studied earlier Earth Sister, the Shekinah below. And Shekinah means the radiant garment of the world, of the cosmos. The garment is what we see, the we call it the material plane, but it's what we see. And what that covers, or what that is the radiant cosmos in all its glowing. So we're looking at what's called the garment, but when we look deeper, it's the Shekinah. It is the holy Shekinah, which represents the living cosmos. So the priestess is called the Shekinah above, she who glistens in the ether. Ether is space. It's another word for space, another word for the fool, the fiery breath of the universe. Ether. Out of the ether, or dark matter, could be dark matter. Out of the ether, everything emerges. So the high priestess glistens in the ether, and we will see that her process and where she's located on the tree of life is that she brings into manifestation. She brings idea into manifestation. She brings the form of the universe into whatever that's going to be. She brings the force into the form. So here is the Earth sister, Shekinah below. The star of the sea, priestess of the silver star, and she's also called the Maja. Maja, not pronounced Maga. Okay. She's the Maja, and she's the feminine form of Magus. Okay, and here's something funny. The priestess guided me in the creation of Tarot of the Spirit all the way through. It was like a guide. I was downloading this guide, and it was the priestess of the Tarot, but this energy of the universe. So I'm receiving this energy, and I was so indebted. I felt so indebted that I wanted to call the deck the Maja Tarot. I was very close actually to doing that. And then I realized, that's not a good idea. This was a long time ago before we had the term of MAGA in our culture. But then I realized people would not understand it. So it turned out to be Tarot of the Spirit, which is, very, you can remember it. It's easy. So Maja. So Maja means major or larger in Latin. Majus is teacher or wise one in Latin. And Maja is also spelled Maya. Maya. And Maya is short for Mary, Magdalena, Maria, and Maria, these four spellings. So this is cross-cultural. Maya is Greek, and it means great, brave, confident, and mother. And later, at another time, we'll talk about the Greek origins of the Western mystery tradition, but not today. Okay, so here she is, Maya, Mary, and then here is a another version, Magdalena, and then a Greek version. So now I want to tell you a mythological origin story based on these titles. Maya was one of the seven Pleiadian sisters. And this is the story about Maya, the seven sisters, the seven stars in the Pleiades, the seven bright stars. And so this is the ancient story, the ancient Greek story. So Maya is one of the seven sisters. She's uncommonly beautiful. This has to do with the priestess. And she is an earth goddess, and she's also the goddess of the moon, a goddess of the moon. Her mother is Pleione, and she is the oldest of the seven sisters. Her father is Atlas, who bears the world of earth on his shoulders, and Maya's maternal grandmother is the ocean. So this is her lineage as one of the stars in the Pleiades. The seven sisters were stunningly attractive, and all of the Greek gods were attracted to them. Zeus in particular. So Zeus, who's known as Jupiter in the Roman pantheon, Zeus was married to Hera, but he was constantly pursuing Maya and wouldn't leave her alone. And one night, Zeus crept out for a secret tryst with Maya. This is the story. And that night, Maya conceived a child. Okay, so remember, this is another name for the priestess, Maya, Maja. And her child was Hermes in the Roman pantheon, or Mercury. Yeah, Mercury, Hermes, and also the Magus, which we've already talked about. Okay, so Maya is the mother, the priestess, the Magus is the sun, mythologically. So here is a Greek amphora, a picture. That's a pot, one of the Greek pots. The goddess Maya is the mythic mother of Hermes, Mercury, the Magus, and Hermes, Mercury, is the messenger of the gods and the conductor of souls to the afterlife. So these two are involved in this path together as mother and son. So this just shows the lineage. So Maya on the left, Maya, goddess of the moon, and representation of the moon, and the moon is the astrological symbol for the priestess. So you have Maya, and then the moon and the priestess, and then on the right side you have Zeus, Jupiter, this is the father, and the wheel of fortune, and then in the middle, the Magus, Hermes, Mercury, the Magus. So this is from old mythological origins, and all of this gets captured in these tarot cards. So this is what the Pleiades look like. You know, this is a picture of the Pleiades. It's got the seven main stars. You can see Maya over on the right side and her mother Pleione is over on the left. So the fate of Maya, so whatever happened to Maya. So Orion was also very, very attracted to Maya and constantly in pursuit of the seven sisters. So Zeus, the story is Zeus sent the sisters into the sky, and then they could live up there in peace. And they wouldn't be bothered by all of these gods who were pursuing them on earth. But they should have been able to live in peace. However, Orion couldn't leave them alone. So pretty soon he followed them up to into the sky, where he became the constellation that's constantly following the Pleiades and follows them still. So this is the Pleiades, and it actually consists of 332 stars with those seven bright stars. Okay, there's a reason, and you'll see in a second why I wanted to bring up the Pleiades. So, okay, and this is it. Origin stories, 1992, Tarot of the Spirit. Okay, first of all, the Tarot of the Spirit was called the Alien deck. I don't know if any of you are aware of that. So this is back in the day. I got my first deck. This becomes very autobiographical. I received my first deck after we worked on it for 7 years. I got it on winter solstice 1992, a box of decks arrived on my doorstep of Tarot of the Spirit. So then this is before the internet. The internet was just beginning at that time, but it wasn't for 3, 4 more years. And then it was still beginning, but that's when we could sort of access it. But so this is prior. And back in these days, I don't know if any of you remember this. There was such a thing called magazines, these magazines that people read. And in these magazines, there were all kinds of reviews. So Tarot of the Spirit got reviewed a lot. And that was really exciting in these magazines and magazines for the trade. And then people started saying, this is the alien deck. And it was mostly because of that priestess card, because of her eyes, right? Looks like an alien. But then when you start looking at the rest of the cards, you can start to see it. Okay, not that I want to bring back the alien title, but it's relevant to what I wanted to tell you about today. So, okay, so then I finished, we finished the Tarot of the Spirit, and then I wrote this book called Priestess, Woman as Sacred Celebrant. And that book was also published by Samuel Weiser. So this book was channeled, you might say, or received. Okay, here's the secret part, which I'm now making public, right? But I kept it quiet for a long time, but it was channeled or received from Riavec, who supposedly, okay, I have to back up and tell you how this happened. I was meditating. Here's what happens when you meditate. Here's what can happen. Watch out, people, when you're meditating. Okay, so back in the day when Kabbalah was coming through very big time in 1000, the year 1000 or 1100, 1200, a lot was coming through, and people meditated and had direct communication with the cosmos. This was the thing people did. They would go to a high place or they would go in a cave. People still do this, but it went out of favor for a while. But if you ask, if you intend to learn something and you go into this kind of state of mind, things can really begin to happen. And I was already tuned into that from writing Tarot of the Spirit. So I just kept going with it in these very deep meditations that I would do on a daily basis. And then one day, well, first of all, my teacher asked me a question. I was also in a seminary and I was about to be ordained. And so she and I had been in the seminary for 5 years. And so you will also see that in Tarot of the Spirit that it's also based on comparative religion. So it's based on psychology, sociology, comparative religion, and the Western mystery tradition. So she asked me this question, which I have written down. I think it's on the next slide. And she said, meditate on this question, and then you're going to receive something. So she said this to me, you're going to receive something, and then you will fly out here to it was Pennsylvania, and you will be ordained, and you will know something more. Okay, so I started meditating, and what I received, okay, I have to tell a little bit more of the story. I thought what I wanted to, I had an idea about what I wanted to meditate on. I wanted to meditate on the early Greek places where men and women worked together spiritually and created a totally equal environment, especially Crete. So I had 20 books that I read. This is books, not the internet, right? On Crete. And they were piled up next to me while I'm meditating. And I was hoping to get more information about Crete. So I started seeing a picture, and the picture, I saw it like a movie. And then I'm like, this is not Crete. This is not Crete. It's not Crete. And then I got this message. It's Sumeria. Okay, I'm telling way more than I had intended, so I got to speed this up. So it's Sumeria. It's ancient Sumer. And then I start hearing this voice. It was a man's voice. And the man started narrating the picture. I'm like, whoa. And so he tells me, he identifies himself. My name is, I could only hear it like Riavek because it wasn't really in English. I just was hearing it in some language. And then he identified himself as my brother, who was actually my twin, like a twin part of my soul. This is more than I've ever said about this, okay, publicly. But so he stayed in the Pleiades. That's why I wanted to tell you the story about the Pleiades. He said he stayed in the Pleiades when I came to the earth 5,000 years ago, and that we were still totally connected, and he had been waiting to hear from me. Okay. So when I started out doing a book tour on Priestess when it came out, and I was at a bookstore, and there was a pretty large crowd there, and a man stood up in the back. I gave a presentation, and he stood up in the back. I have a question, and he said, "Is this real, or is this fiction, or what? What are you talking about?" And I could not, I'm telling you right now, I could not answer the question. And I just wanted to run away because I didn't even know the answer. Is this real? Is this fiction? So I called it autobiographical fiction. And yet, but it kept coming, probably 300 pages worth kept coming, many, many views, but I never gave another presentation after that. And that was way back in 1995 or something like that. Never gave another presentation because I could not address it. But this has everything to do with the energy of the priestess. But I couldn't address it publicly. Okay, so the one on the right, Woman as a Sacred Celebrant, that's the first edition. And then later, the next edition, same book though, Priestess 3000 BC to the Future. Okay, because I got 7 lifetimes in the past, then I got the current lifetime. He showed me pictures, and then I got a future lifetime. Okay, so the question that my teacher had asked me was, what is the single most important event in the early Christian church that removed the goddess-oriented religious base and replaced it with a father orientation? That was the question I was supposed to meditate on before my ordination. So I was meditating on that question when all of this happened, and the guide appeared and started showing me pictures. And then this went on for quite a while and told an entire story. So I got this view of these 9 lifetimes. I won't go into them right now, but ancient Mesopotamia, that was the first one that came. It wasn't Crete. I never got Crete. That's what I was looking for. Crete never came. So I got Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, and then the Red Sea, ancient Greece, Egypt, and then Friesland, which is in northern Europe, Paris. Um, that was not a good scene. And then my life right now, and then this future life. So all these meditations started coming through. What does this have to do with the priestess in the tarot deck? Memory. Such a mystery. It is a huge mystery what our memory is and how big it is and who we really are. So it is said about the priestess, this card, that she holds the memory of all that is past, present, and future. She holds the book of life, the Akashic records. And this word memory, the root of memory is M-E-M, mem in Hebrew, and it means primal water. And this is like the cosmic sea that we move out of and back into and also exists within us. And we hold this memory, they say, this is the deepest part of it all. We hold this memory within ourselves, within every cell of our body. The records are recorded also in the ether. It's inside and outside of us, these Akashic records that we remember. The Akashic records are the book of life. So our quest, when we get deeper and deeper and deeper into the Western mystery tradition, our quest is to unveil the mystery of our true cosmological origin, our true being, who we really are, and our true becoming. Okay, so, and that may be different for each one of us, but it's to go deeper beneath the cultural overlays into the real essence of who we are. The high priestess is called the third mode of empowerment. There are only 3 modes. She's the third mode of empowerment, and that's called memory. So through activating her expansive memory, and of course, male or female, she's also androgynous. She may be the mother, but she's also androgynous. So through activating her memory, she achieves a high level of efficaciousness as she participates in creating the internal and external cosmos and expanding the anima cosma. So what that means is, like, she can, if she knows her, it's like know thyself. If she knows herself very deeply, if she knows her origins, if she knows why she's here now, where she came from, and what the lineage is, and what the future will be, she can create the future. And she can also expand the soul of the universe, the soul of the planet, the soul of herself. So the goal would be to remember or to receive. Kabbalah means to receive our true nature, like the meaning of our true nature. Consciousness, that's what it's all about. Consciousness is the key. So it's expanding, awakening our consciousness, expanding our consciousness. So these are the 3 modes of empowerment associated with Fool, Magus, and Priestess. The Fool is the mode of empowerment for us is attached detachment. And so that's like detachment from outcome, but attaching to the process and what we're trying to create, and at the same time, detaching from the ultimate, whatever what happens, because there's only so much control we have. So the Fool, attached detachment, the Magus, focused action, focus, 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 and then the Priestess is memory, remembering who we really are, remembering who we are, past, present, and future, the depth of it. The high priestess holds our individual and collective memory of all that is, all that has been, and all that ever shall be. and holding it in those records. She holds the Akashic scroll, which is also called the Book of Life. And this is a cosmological metaphysical database which holds the archive of every soul's journey, as they say. They call it a library. It contains events, experiences, thoughts, and emotions. And it's said you write your own chapter because you have free will. So you write your own chapter in the book, and the question is, what do you want to write? What do you want to contribute? And when you draw this card, the priestess, she's inviting you to write your chapter. She's holding the scroll and saying, okay, what are you going to do with this life? Mary Oliver just popped into my mind, with your one wild and precious life. What will you do? These are some images that people have created of the Akashic records. What do they look like? Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in for fun. So the records are contained, as they say, in the ground, in the sky, in every leaf, every drop of water, every stone, and including every human and even in every cell. The one in the middle, by the way, it has the DNA. So DNA, the DNA is a very mysterious, and maybe it is a library in and of itself. So what do you want for, in, and as your life right now? The records are created through the power of attraction. So what are you drawn to? Because that's what's going to create the future. That's also how you're going to remember the past. So what is it that you are drawn to, and what do you want to happen? So priestess is related very much with the power of attraction, which is number two, the number two. So here's the power of attraction, number two. So the priestess is a number two in the major arcana, and she's related to all the twos. And the twos essentially would ask this question: two of fire, convergence. It's called, what is your spiritual vow? Like, what is your vow? What's your promise to the universe? And then the two of water. What do you love? Who do you love? Why do you love? This is the power of attraction in action. And then the two of wind. What do you identify with? And this card shows the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. Like, how are you breaking out of a lower level or a prior level of knowing and into a freed level of knowing? This card's called the crossing. It's crossing out of, it's breaking out of the cocoon. What happens? And then on the two of earth, it's cause and effect. What is your cause? And what are you the cause of? Your life as a cause. What is it? So all these things are interconnected: spirit, heart, mind, and body, the two, power of attraction. This cosmological power of attraction, it is the action of becoming that exists throughout the entire universe. Every atom is charged and attracted to other atoms. So it's always in motion. And now we know that even on the quantum level, inside atoms, there's a whole universe of the power of attraction happening with smaller and smaller and smaller particles. The deeper we can see, the more we know there are universes within universes, all moving because of the power of attraction. Cosmological activity moves toward creating wholeness. And this is what happens. Wholeness, things form, they come into being, they live a lifespan, and then they pass out of that lifespan and reconstitute. But it's all about creating wholeness. And to seek wholeness within ourselves, when we seek wholeness within and without, that is the definition, the very definition of healing, because to heal means to become whole. So in the power of attraction, we're also seeking missing pieces, pieces that will make us whole, pieces that will build us. The priestess heals through uniting, And she is the uniting intelligence. She is the intelligence that brings together. And she also carries within her the invisible caduceus. The caduceus is the Mercury's staff, her son, Mercury's staff. And that is the staff, it's the logo of the American Medical Association, but it means healing around the world, the caduceus. So here it is. And of course, it is also based on the diagram of the tree of life. And you know, all of these cards are painted on the diagram of the tree of life. And we'll see more of those diagrams in a minute. The priestess is also related to key number 11, karma, and key number 20, resurrection. And karma has to do with the power of attraction too, and creating movement through, what do we want to happen? And so we can start to create this movement. I don't want to go too deeply into it right now. And then the resurrection is parting the veil. These are both based on number two. Karma is 11, 1 and 1 is 2. And then with resurrection, it's number 20. 2 plus 0 is 2. So they both stand behind the priestess. So that's the priestess, karma, and resurrection. Resurrection is when you follow your higher calling. That's also the power of attraction. You can part the veil into a new world following your calling. And here, everything, all forms of opposites unite, and the view becomes a world never seen before. And this is part of the healing process. So we see on the back of this card, Resurrection, we see the healing equal arm cross in the four directions, also stands for Switzerland, right? But that's the healing cross of the four directions, and it stands for healing. Okay, so the way we choose to play the hand we are dealt moment by moment, that's karma. Okay, I mean, there's a lot we are going to have to deal with. It came to us. How will we handle that? And then how will we play it forward, so to speak? And then with the resurrection, the veils open onto vistas previously unimaginable. This is resurrection. And here's a big mystery is again, consciousness. We don't really know what it is, and we don't know how far it goes. And we don't know what we'll talk about next time. We're going to talk about imagination and the mystery of imagination, which is completely related. It's another huge mystery that we don't really understand. Like, where does it come from? This imagination, this creativity. So here's where the high priestess lives on the tree of life. She lives between the sphere number one, and sphere number 6. And she's called Path 13. I've been over these paths a lot, but I'll just remind you that 1 through 10, that's called paths 1 through 10. And then we go back up to the top of the tree. The path between number 1 and 3 is called, excuse me, it's the other way. I'm sorry, the path between number 1 and number 2 is called path 11. So those spheres are path 1 through 10. Then we go to the top of the tree, back up to the top, and between 1 and 2 is path 11. Between 1 and 3 is path 12, and then the priestess is path 13 that goes between sphere 1 and 6. So anyway, that is all this information. So she's the channel between those two spheres. And those two spheres, in this case, we can look at the tree in a lot of different ways, but in this case, between 1 and 6, it is passing between sphere 1, which is considered origin, the origin point, and sphere 6, which is manifestation on the planet Earth. So it's also said that she connects heaven, that's the ether, the unknown, the world of the gods. She connects that with Earth. Okay, so that's the path of the priestess. And we have already talked about this as she inhabits this bridge between worlds. She lives on the bridge. So we were looking at it vertically, and now we're just looking at her bridge horizontally. So she's standing on top of this bridge that connects heaven and earth, so to speak, the bridge between worlds. And you can see it really well on this card. It's the rainbow bridge. This is the nine of water card, and it's the rainbow bridge down the middle. And the priestess lives between sphere one and sphere six on that rainbow bridge, which represents what's called the rainbow covenant. And the rainbow covenant is this connection between earth and greater consciousness, or between manifestation and greater cosmological consciousness. Okay, so we'll go on in the interest of time. So she's called the uniting intelligence. She is also seen as a cosmic battery that electrifies the energies of all polarized powers. So it's bzzz, and on the when you look at the caduceus, you see where the snakes cross on the caduceus. Every place they cross, it's a nexus of power. It's like the chakras. The chakras are nexuses, I don't know if that's the right plural, of power. And every place they cross, it gets activated. So she's a cosmic battery that electrifies the energy of polarized powers, connects them. She's the channel between the number one and the number six, Keter, the point of origination, which is the incomprehensible principle, eternal being, the unconditioned state of things, the one essence, the ancient of ancients. This is one view. There are other ways to look at the tree of life, but this is the one I want to give you right now. And Tiferet is number six. It means enlightened consciousness, the brilliant manifestation of the divine child. And all of it, for those who have ears here, all of us are also the divine child. So we're both the power behind the divine child coming into being, and we are also the divine child walking on the planet. This is Western mystery teachings. She's the uniting intelligence, and here she comes. Here comes the human out of that. And so here we go, becoming manifest on this path as the energy travels to Earth. So she occupies this bridge. She unites the world of humans with the worlds of gods, it said, and the world of gods with the world of humans. So everything begins to come into manifestation and form. The bridge also, when we look at it again, when we look at it vertically, right now we're looking at it horizontally, but when we look at it vertically, we see it on the tree of life, this path, and it crosses both the path of the Empress, which is on the top of the tree, and then the next one down is strength. The priestess path crosses both of those, the Empress and strength. And so here she is connecting between those two. They're called girders on the tree that hold the tree sideways. So at the crossing of the Empress, now this one's really important. So when we look at this diagram of the tree of life, the one that's going vertically, that's the priestess again, path of the high priestess between one and six. The Empress goes between two and three. Okay, so right where they cross at the crossroads of the priestess and the Empress, that's where life is sparked. And the Empress will go into the Empress next time. The Empress is all about imagination and the universe imagining the world into existence. We'll talk about that later, but where they cross is the moment that life is sparked. Of course, this is proof by cartoon. This is a glyph we're looking at. This is a pack of cards, and this is an ancient glyph. But at that sparking place, imagination meets the power to move the energy to the earth. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right there. So this is the priestess crossing the empress, very important. And then this is the priestess going further down, now coming into manifestation, crossing the abyss. Once it crosses the abyss, and that's the dark area in the card, everything begins to manifest. And so this is crossing the path of strength. And then at that crossroads on that one is the unifying essence of wholeness and healing. And what that strength path connects, I didn't mention what the Empress, I'll go back to the Empress for a second. The Empress path connects male and female, like emission and reception, and all forms of that throughout the universe. And then the strength path connects the four, which is stability, and cosmos means order. It's order, connects the order with the number five, Gavura, which is disorder, deconstruction, chaos. Okay, so the priestess is right in the middle, bringing together both the cosmos and the chaos. And then when you look really deep, we begin to know that even the chaos actually moves out. There's reason behind it, even the chaos, if you look very deep. Okay, but she unites all of it, the priestess. And it all is a movement toward wholeness and healing. And so again, the caduceus, which also fits over the path of strength. See, here's strength with the snakes going up the central pillar, painted on the tree of life, and then here's the caduceus again appearing. So you could overlay the caduceus on any one of these cards and the power points where those where the two it's like where those two electrical forces cross. The snakes are like electrical forces, positive and negative. Okay, so on the bridge, as she stands on her bridge, she looks down into the abyss always. So she always knows the abyss is there. The abyss is a place of learning. It can also be a dark night of the soul. And it's a solo adventure to go into it. And then until we realize it's a solo adventure until we realize, well, what do we realize? Well, we realize that we're guided. See, so that goes back to learning who we are. If we listen, okay, what is this guidance? Well, we can define it any way we want, but it seems external, but may just be internal, but brings up the question, well, where are the boundaries of self anyway? Because we can bring in far more than we realize. So we learn we are guided in the abyss, and we also learn we are guides. So this card, the mystery card, represents that. It represents the abyss. It represents the secret sphere number 11 that lives in the center of the abyss. The priestess exploring darkness comes to know herself. So she, even on her dark night, in her dark night of the soul, she is coming to know herself, for she is the midwife of birth, death, and karmic transition. And all of us taking the deep dive, any of us, all of us become that midwife of birth, death, and karmic transition. So the path of the priestess is called the second dark night of the soul. In the second dark night, having slipped into the abyss again, because we slip into it, we may discover that going within results in going without. And in the second dark night, as we go it alone, we may discover our connection with the great living soul, that we are part of the great living soul of the universe, and it's much bigger than us. It is from the depths of the abyss that we realize we are not alone. Temperance is right below the priestess on the middle pillar on the tree of life. So it goes from priestess path goes from 1 to 6, and then from 6 to 9, further down on the middle pillar of the tree of life. That's the path of temperance. Temperance is called the first dark night of the soul. This is just FYI, for your information. In temperance, we are greatly tested on our path. Like when we're on that path, when we draw that card, we can be really tested. This card is actually the what I'm showing you is the middle pillar from the 9 of water card, because it shows the middle pillar so clearly. So the top part of the rainbow is the path of the priestess. And then, excuse me, the next part down is the path of temperance, the rainbow bridge. Okay, so the path of temperance and the high priestess both reside on this rainbow bridge. And excuse me, the nine of water is the place we want to return to on this rainbow bridge and out of the dark night of the soul or the two dark nights of the soul. And we want to live in this place. So, okay, and temperance moves out of the subconscious. So we want to influence our subconscious positively, our executive function, influence the subconscious with knowing that we are connected, which is what we learn on the path of the priestess. And we want to bring it down into our subconscious. And so here you can see here's the path of temperance on the central pillar, and then the path of the priestess, and that's how they're connected, and they move around in and out of sphere 6, which is the place of synergy in our lives. Okay, so these are the vistas of the priestess. This is sort of a review. She sees into the origin. This is the priestess knowing the past, knowing the present, knowing the future, remembering. She sees into the origin, sphere number 1. She sees into the earth world, sphere number 6. She lives into the spark of life, the empress, that's the crossroads, and sparking everything alive. She lives into healing and wholeness, path of the strength, crossing, the crossing, and she falls, or when she gets better at it, dives into the abyss to face her darkness, to conquer her fears, and to realize her powers. Okay, archetypally, this is the priestess. And here she is above the bridge and diving down intentionally. After she slips a couple times into it, and like, oops, how did that happen? And has to try and figure out her way out. Okay. So these are depictions of her vistas, origin to earth, earth to origin, her vista, earth to origin. This is her path, earth to off planet. Okay, so I'm kind of joking about this, like the Pleiades. Hello, are you out there? Are you still there? Can you hear me? You know, can you hear me yet? The cell phone. Okay. Space exploration, the abyss. I mean, it goes all the way from massive space exploration to the internal abyss within ourselves, and then whatever our consciousness can go into. As we come to Earth, this is the tetragrammaton again, which I mention every single time. This is the one of fire, one of water, one of wind, one of earth, spinning together to create form. Okay, so everything is based on these elements spinning together out of the ether, out of the cosmos, coming together through the power of attraction, spinning together, and form emerges. And if we put this tetragrammaton together like this, like form is happening, we can look through the center of it, through the hole in the center, gazing through the center. And this is like looking through the sixth sphere, because in the sixth sphere is where everything comes into form. Humans form in the sixth sphere. Okay, it all comes into form. So we can gaze through the tetragrammaton, through the middle of the sixth sphere, into the stars. And this is the realm of the priestess. She is seeing into the stars. She is uniting above and below and gazing through the tetragrammaton into the stars and then bringing that energy into form. That's the path of the priestess. It's a very powerful path, the priestess. So the priestess unites above and below, below and above. And this is just the one of fire, 6 of fire. So she travels between those two cards. So the one of fire is the impetus to um, the spirit of life itself, and then all the way through the 6, which is the spirit of making your offering into the world. And it's the same in all of these suits. So the one of water into six of water, which is where we want to live from, faith. The one of wind into the six of wind, clarity. The one of earth into the six of earth, beauty. The beauty way, beauty above, below, all around inside. So the priestess is the path that connects these, the four cards of the tetragrammaton to unites them into the place all of us as spiritual students want to live from, making our offering, living in faith, living in clarity, and living in the beauty way, which unites all four aspects of our consciousness. So again, she's called the uniting intelligence. She unites the divine child and the enveloping cosmos. We are continually powered by her. Path 13, the high priestess, okay, moves between number one again and number six. Number one is the cosmological power of centration and origination, the source, the cause of causes. And then number six is where the divine sun appears. It also, if the six is a set of, it's synergy, it is a set of, it's a complex of the highest form of fire, water, air, and earth. And it's also the birthplace of the divine sun. So this is sphere number six, the sphere of enlightened consciousness. And so we all come forward as the uh, divine son, the divine child. And the priestess, in a sense, brings that forward as she flows over the abyss, as path 13 flows over the abyss, bringing the ageless wisdom into the dimension of existence. And then conversely, she ushers the wisdom of existence into the realm of the unmanifest. So, in other words, you could say this is a path of life and death. She brings forth and she takes out. Okay. And then everything gets reconstituted. So she unites above and below, inner and outer, all complementary and supplementary forces on the tree of life. That is her path, the path of the high priestess. She balances all the pairs of opposites that flank her on either side, two and three, male and female, as they come together on the path of the Empress, mercy and severity. That's the four and the five, cosmos and chaos. It's called mercy and severity, cosmos and chaos. And it's also called anabolism, which means building up. Number four is building up, and catabolism, which is breaking down. And she unites those two right in the middle. She stands right in the middle, uniting all those pairs of opposites. And between the two pillars, black and white, her symbolic action, how does she do this? The lemniscate, again, as even as the magus, and I want to say her son, uses the same power of unification. So it's this lemniscate uniting above and below, and also side to side, and then bringing them together and mixing them. She unites all cyclic actions and polarities. She brings it all together. And she teaches us to walk in beauty. May I walk. This is out of her dark night of the soul, everything that she discovers. May I walk. May it be beautiful. May it be beautiful above me. May it be beautiful below me. May it be beautiful before me. May it be beautiful behind me. May it be beautiful all around me. May it be beautiful inside me. May I walk. May it be beautiful. In beauty, it is ended. This is the six of earth, beauty. And that means when we walk in beauty, all illness falls away. And then we come to a place of wholeness. And she's the moon, her astrology, the moon, changeable, changeability. How do we deal with this during changing circumstances? Everything's changing within and without all the time. Another view of the moon, changeability. In another view, all the movement continually representing this changeability. Okay, her Hebrew letter is the camel, and that's her totem. And the camel or the the camel, the totem is the moon. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. And it means changeability. Okay, what about the camel? So the moon oversees times and tides and wave action, and the camel must go for long distances through change without being refreshed or rejuvenated. And what the camel learns is how to store her own water as she moves through the desert. She learns how to pace herself and she learns how to carry her own water. And water is a metaphor for love and life. So it has everything to do with the suit of water and everything that's in it. So this is about us learning to store and hold. It's about wisdom. Water, a metaphor for love. And we're on the earth planet, we're on the water planet. And water is life. Water is life. Water is metaphor for love. Two of water, sacred cord. So the priestess learns to go without and go within. She learns to go within to go without. So she is understanding how to go without, and it has a double meaning. And then when the time is right, she fills herself. So I just couldn't resist this little picture of this little, when she gets her bottled water. Don't know what she's going to do with that plastic, but we'll figure it out. She'll figure it out. Okay. So the priestess refreshing herself. So here's the card symbology. She's seated on the altar of the Magus, which is now her throne. She's holding the Akashic scroll. That's what are you going to write on this? The speckled pattern of the records, the the actual pattern on the card, you'll see it through the deck. It's the same pattern as the exterior that you see on the exterior of the altar of the Magus. Her face is in the secret sphere number 11 dot. Her third eye is wide open on the path of the Empress. So that's the contact point, which we'll talk about next time, a lot more about that the next time. So her third eye is open on the path of the Empress, imagination. The moon appears, it's down on the between the 7 and the 10. The moon is appearing down there on the card, and that's the path of the moon. That's the card of the moon where it appears on the painting of the priestess. She's cloaked in blue. That is the Venusian color of the divine feminine. She sits on the middle pillar, and the middle pillar it's right in the middle, so it contains both the male and female energies of both sides coming together. So she may be I mentioned this before, so she may be a mother, but she's androgynous. She contains both and equally. Here's a little more on the card symbology. The checkerboard floor integrates all pairs of opposites, and she's got her bare feet on all pairs of opposites. Like she is taking it in and sending it out. And under the floor runs the stream of consciousness. They call it the river of the cosmos. She's very much in touch with the stream of consciousness and this river of life. The stream of the records flows, you can see it flows, the Akashic record flows straight down into that stream and then into the world. It flows right through the subconscious, and that subconscious becomes this where that the world moves out of this subconscious. So the intention flows down into the subconscious, and then the stream of consciousness emerges from that. She sits within the temple of the tree of life. Everything's within the temple. And above, on the top of the card, there are wings. Sacred energies appear as butterfly wings, and they fly out. So this card is all about transformation and transcendence. That's the path of the priestess, transformation and transcendence. So here's her mystery. The priestess teaches this. Bearing light from the source, I enter the flow of the cosmological story. Bearing sensibilities from the source, source is number one. Bearing sensibilities from the source, I read the cosmological story. I base my consciousness on the sure foundation of the memory of that which has been and is, together with new possibilities for becoming. I live the essence of my moment in the living world of manifestation. This is our moment in the world of manifestation. So we live our cosmological story, the one we're writing in the book of life. The initiation of the high priestess, this is what it's about. The initiation is divining. Divining means knowing, just firsthand knowing the divination of all that has been, all that is, and all that ever shall be. Then this is where we are going. We are headed into that, us together. All right. So here are her colors. We're going to do a meditation now. Are you ready? Are you ready for a meditation? Okay, her colors: blue, silver, cold, pale blue, and silver rayed with sky blue. So these are the classic colors that were passed down for the priestess, and these colors are said to be psychoactive. So when you look at the colors, then you have some kind of experience of these colors. And then the sound, it's a strange sound. I think it's a little bit strange to us. The G sharp, sharp. Okay. It's not a straight G, it's a G sharp. So we're going to go into a meditation on the priestess right now. And so get a piece of paper if you don't have one, so you can write down something as it comes to you. All right. Okay. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready myself. Here we go. All right. Just scoot back a little. And I have my trusty guitar to set off the psychoactive aspects of this meditation. Okay, so just listen. Feel yourself beginning to drop down. This is the experience of dropping down that I was talking about earlier. And when you get into a deep place, strange things can be revealed. Okay, so here we go. This is our journey in. Okay, almost. There we go. Okay, so breathe and relax. These are the colors. This is the essence, the energy of the priestess we are looking at. So just breathe and listen and feel yourself relaxing into the depth of yourself. And this is the sound of the priestess. Breathe in the colors: blue, silver, cold, pale blue, silver rayed with sky blue, and listen to the sound and relax, breathing deeply into the temple of your being. Breathe in the eternal present. Breathe in the cosmic present. Breathe into the center of the temple of your being. Breathe slowly. Breathe slowly into the center of all that is, all that has been, all that shall be. Imagine that you can see with your inner eye. You can hear with your inner ear. Listen and drop down. Drop down into the realm of your heart, of your soul. This is where you remember. This is where you know. Even with your eyes closed, open your third eye, the eye of the priestess. Your third eye is open, and you remember. Call upon universal guidance with your third eye open. Call upon universal guidance. Ask to be guided. Ask to be guided. Imagine that you are at your inner altar. Blue, silver rays. The high priestess is with you, and she is all around you, and she is inside you. She is with you, and she possesses the scroll of knowledge, all that has been, is, and shall be, the divine scroll, the book of cosmological knowledge. This is the cosmological story, the essence. She points to the present and says, the story of the cosmos has been in motion for a long time. All that has led to this moment of your becoming has taken place over countless billions of years. And now, here you are, with exacting form and power. Here you are, with freedom of mind. Through you, the force and power of the cosmos comes to inhabit form, even as you yourself are the power of cosmos bound in form. Whatever you think, whatever you do, whatever you say will impact the future of the cosmos forever. Imagine that you have been evolving from the very, very beginning. From the very beginning, you have been drawn into the very essence of yourself. Imagine that your third eye is open. Imagine that your heart is open. Imagine that your soul is open. Imagine that you are highly intuitive. You remember. You remember. You remember in the cells of your body. You remember that you have a vision. You have a voice. The High Priestess is with you and in you. She is here to help you see with your inner vision. She is here to help you hear with your inner ear and to feel with all your heart. She is here to help you remember the story, your story, the story of your moment, the story that you will inscribe in the book of life. Call upon the powers of the High Priestess, within and without. Imagine yourself calling. Call upon the powers to divine all that is, all that has been, all that ever shall be. And now it's time for us to look into the question of what is our story now? What is your story? What is the story only you can tell? And now, calling on the divine guidance of the priestess, we will ask 4 questions, and we will let each answer come quickly and easily and clearly, and we will write it down when it comes. We will trust what comes, whatever comes. Listen. Listen now and write down this first question and trust the answer that comes. Writing it down. The question is, who have I been? Who have I been? Write the question down. Who have I been? And let the answer come. Knowing now that you can come back to this, we're going on to the second question. Write this down. Who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I now? We'll go on to the next question. Who will I be Who will I be? Who will I be? And now we'll go to the last question. What story will I inscribe in the book of life? What story will I inscribe in the book of life? What story will I inscribe in the book of life? Now is my moment. Now is my time. And then bring that to a conclusion, knowing that you can come back here. You can return to this place anytime. And now we're going to begin to come back to full waking consciousness. Full waking consciousness. Returning, returning, returning. And open your eyes. Open your eyes and come back to full waking consciousness. And we're going to hold on to this meditation. And we also have a reading that goes along with the priestess. Here's the reading that goes along with the priestess. And You can come back to this and leave it up on the screen, which we will do, but I just want to walk you through it first. So this is a reading to go deeper into the priestess. 4 cards, very similar to what we just did. This is how you can integrate your meditation with the cards as well. So the first card, what energy represents the past and how can I work with it? So we can take the meditation deeper and go back and forth. Number 2, what energy represents the present and how can I work with it? What energy represents the future and how can I work with it? And what is my soul's path in the book of life? Okay, so we will go, I want to bring this to an end now, but we'll come back. We'll have this on the screen and do the reading. This is the practice for the way of the priestess. I reflect upon the past to create the present. I reflect upon the future to create the present also. I create my story and record it in the book of life. I inscribe my story on moon and tree and stone. I inscribe my story on star and sea. My story is the mystery of my being, having been and becoming. This is the practice. I remember my wholeness, and therefore I become whole. The priestess is in me and with me and of me now and forever. That's the practice that emerges with this card. Consciousness. The priestess is all about consciousness. Consciousness is the way. May our journey be blessed. May I honor the experience of all beings in the cosmos. May I be tolerant, open, and compassionate. When possible, may I be a burden bearer and not a burden. May I remember and learn from all that has gone before. May I cherish the cosmos. May I forgive. May I offer myself in service. May I give freely. May the gift I give become my own sustenance. That's a blessing for our journey. And now we come to an end. And these are our texts that we've been using. The story of the priestess emerges from these texts. And now I want to say thank you, cosmic friends. Thank you for the journey. Thank you for journeying with me. And when I look up out of the abyss, I see you all. I want to say hello, hello, and love, love, love. And so ends our moment, and we will go back and do the reading. All right, thank you all so much, cosmic friends.